Hello, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk, and by now you probably know that good things come in white boxes, and this time we have the brand new HTC One. This is a pre-retail, so I have full and final hardware, but not full and final ROM, and obviously this is non-retail packaging, but we're just going to do a quick unboxing and a tour of the handset and get that underway. So we'll come back to the exciting thing in just a moment, tell you what else we have in the box. We have a USB to micro USB sync charge cable. We have a mains adapter. This one is appears to be European style. Obviously we'd have a UK one when it comes to retail. And then we have a set of headphones, actually a wired headset. So let's take a look at those. So you've got different coloured earbuds, different sizes, and 4-pole 3.5mm jack, pretty standard stuff. Inline microphone with push button, and then in-ear style headphones. Very much like the Beats Audio, but they don't seem to be Beats Audio branded. Now just got HTC logo on them there, but they look kind of cool. They're quite decent. And finally, the last thing in the box, pretty useful, is the little SIM card ejector tool for ejecting the micro SIM, which the device has. So we're going to move these bits out of the way and take a look at the interesting bit, which is the phone itself. Haven't been as excited about a new handset for quite some time, so been really eager to get my hands on one of these. I got to use one a couple of weeks ago, so let's take a look around the hardware. So on the front, right at the top here, we have a 2.1 megapixel camera, which is actually a wide angle lens as well on there, so it's easier to take pictures of yourself when you're holding the camera at arm's length along with your buddies or whatever. Large grill there, which is the speaker. In fact, when we turn it around this way, there are two speakers. It is stereo, so you have a speaker on the top, on the bottom, or obviously in landscape orientation on the left and right. So we do have stereo speakers with large acoustic chambers as well, which makes it actually sound really quite good and gives it a better sound, and a deeper, louder sound. The front on here, we've got the sensors there, so the ambient light proximity sensors at the top. The screen, which is what the kind of interesting part here is, a 4.7 inch. It is a full HD display, so in portrait orientation it's 1080 by 1920 pixels, 4.7 inch, as I say. It's Super LCD 2, sorry, it's Super LCD 3, capable of supporting 16 million colours, and it's pretty awesome. It's covered by a Gorilla Glass 2 glass screen as well, and what you'll notice is the actual Gorilla Glass goes edge to edge, and so the edge of the glass itself is polished. The other thing HTC have done is actually bonded the LCD to the back of the digitizer and the Gorilla Glass as well, so there's no air gap between the front glass and the LCD itself, which means it gives a better appearance. Around the edge at the front we have aluminium, which typically aluminium is a material that HTC like to use. And around the outside we just have like this white accent where we have the SIM card space there, so we have a little eject hole and a tray for the micro SIM, and on the bottom we have a standard USB sync charge connector and a little hole there which is the microphone. Up on the right hand side, push button for up and down volume control there, as you can see. On the top, 3.5mm headphone jack, which can be used obviously for wired headsets or indeed standard 3.5mm headphones, and then the power button as well. Power button also interestingly doubling up as an infrared transmitter port as well. One of the nice features with this device is you can actually use it as a remote control, which we'll come to a bit later on, possibly in another review. On the back, and perhaps slightly controversially, there is a 4 megapixel camera, and one of the things that HTC have done, I must say I'm really pleased that they have, is really started to challenge the fact that more megapixels does not equal a better camera or better image quality. In fact, often the reverse is true. So HTC have put a 4 megapixel sensor inside the device, and the idea here is that the pixels within the sensor or on the sensor are actually much larger than many other devices. In fact, are among the largest that you can find in any mobile device anywhere, and it is comparable to digital SLR and digital compact cameras in terms of the actual pixel size. What that basically means is more light can be captured on a larger area of each pixel. So 4 megapixel sensor along with an LED flash there as well. There is another hole there which is for an additional microphone for additional noise cancelling and other features like that. The back is a one-piece aluminium, primarily one piece there. You can see there's sort of just ridge lines there, but it has obviously a nice cool touch to it. The antenna or antennae are actually underneath there, which is quite unusual as well. Typically antennas don't really work well with metal, but HTC have found a way to actually overcome that. So all the antenna for the mobile, for the Wi-Fi, and indeed for the NFC are actually underneath that aluminium there. The cover doesn't come off the back, so there's no user removable battery, which again is a fairly common move at the moment anyway, so that's shouldn't disappoint too much. But we can't actually get the back off, it's actually fixed in place. In terms of the size, let me run down through the size and the rest of the specification for you. 137mm from top to bottom. It is a pretty large handset, so just over 68mm wide and 9.3mm even at the thickest point. Well, you'll notice the camera doesn't protrude from the back, which is nice as well, and also means that it has actually sit that much flatter. Feels very nice in the palm of the hand because it does obviously have that aluminium feel to it as well. And the other thing you'll notice, particularly if you get a chance to look at one of these very close up, is it is a gapless design, what I call gapless design. So it flows all the way around, there's no edges, it's all polished, the Gorilla Glass is polished at the edges, and all the back and everything else is all just flows as if it's one piece, which obviously isn't, but it does have that appearance to it. We'll just power up. And while that comes on, let's run down the rest of the specification. So we are a 4G capable device, so we have LTE, micro SIM card we've already mentioned. LTE depends on the actual market that it's being sold in, but here in the UK it will be on LTE. Thank you. The weight, 143 grams. It does feel quite weighty, but it is a big device with a really gorgeous display, but we'll talk about that again in a moment. HTC Sense user interface is the version 5, so there's some new features in here which we'll come to in a moment. There are 32 and 64 gigabyte models available. This I'm not sure what we have here actually, but we'll again find that out in a moment. 2 gigabytes of RAM, Wi-Fi supporting 802.11b, AB, G and GN standards, AB standards, sorry, which is basically the gigabit Wi-Fi if you like. DLNA support and Wi-Fi hotspot modes, Bluetooth 4 with A2DP, there's an NFC support as well, as I say, 4 megapixel camera with some nice features which we'll look at some point as well, 2.1 megapixel forward facing. Android operating system is 4.1.2 Jelly Bean, but it is upgradable to 4.2.2. And we have a quad-core 1.7 Crate processor with Adreno 320 GPU, and we've got ambient light, proximity sensors, gyros, compass, and all that kind of stuff. There's also an FM radio with RDS, and there is GPS as well. I think that covers the basics. So let's take a look at the user interface. Immediately, if you look at one of these, and I really do encourage you to look at one for yourself, the display is awesome. It's really high density. The pixel density is in the order of 469 pixels per inch. I think that is probably the highest, if not among the highest pixel densities of any screen that I've ever come across. So let's get started. We'll connect quickly to a Wi-Fi network. As you can see there, we have the fairly straightforward looking keyboard, but being a larger screen, it makes it a little bit easier to use. So let's go and just log in. And there we are already connected. So next, and obviously this is something that you just do the first time you start up the phone. So I'm going to set up from scratch, and we're going to skip the synchronization and transfer from another device, and I'm going to skip for the moment setting up any other accounts, because we'll do that later on. You can come back to this setup screen anyway. I'm going to skip this Dropbox setup, but it does come with a 25GB Dropbox account. It is an HT device, telling us that it is a test device because it's not final ROM. We'll go and use the location, agree to use location, and skip through the rest of it pretty much as quickly as we can, and we'll call it an HTC One. So finishing the setup. Okay, so it's updated the location, it's told me what the time is approximately, see the date there and the weather. So this is the new Blinkfeed interface here, as you can see, with sort of tiles. Nothing set up just at the moment because I haven't set up any thing to subscribe to. If I swipe, then I'm basically going to come to something that's a little bit more familiar, so the Google search and the Play Store, and then we have a series of empty panels that we can actually customize, and we can add things into it like time, calculator, calendars, all these various widgets that, again, they're fairly familiar in terms of their concept, but have undergone a redesign under HTC Sense 5. So this is our default view of the Blinkfeed. I'm going to talk about Blinkfeed in more detail when it comes to in another video, because I'll go through sort of kind of setting it all up and how that all works. The app launcher has again undergone a redesign, which is a lot more attractive, a lot more nicely laid out with custom views, and it is just a lot smoother, a lot richer, and a lot easier on the eye, and even includes the sort of time at the top there. So it's a more of a consistent approach. If we go into settings, again, settings has got a nice interface to it. You notice it's kind of springy in how it works, and we can take a look at things like display gestures and buttons. We can change backlight, brightnesses and all that kind of stuff, and look at all the gestures. And we can go down to the bottom, we can look at about, and we can look at things like phone identity and all that kind of stuff, and software updates, searching for updates, hardware information, software information. Okay, as you can see there, 4.1.2, and various other things through there as well, including setting up other additional Wi-Fi networks, turning Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on and off, media output, and VPNs. You kind of get the idea of setting up NFC and so on. The other thing I want to go ahead and just do on here at the moment is go into the Play Store, and I'll go connect to our existing account very quickly. There we go, we'll just sign into the Play Store, and I'm going to go ahead and do my search, and you probably know what I'm about to do, and that is we're going to download and install Quadrant and run a quick benchmark. And that's going to just go down at the top. We can see there's a notification area at the top as well. Once again has undergone a redesign, which looks really nice, and Quadrant is successfully installed. So let's go ahead and quickly run this full benchmark. I'm expecting this to be rather rapid, but again, bear in mind this is a test device, not final ROM. Consider that when we actually get our results. It's going pretty rapidly, 60 odd frames a second there. Bearing in mind that it's a full HD display, lots of pixels to draw on the screen. Again, 60 frames a second there. Performing pretty well. And we're coming to the end. That's pretty quick. Wow, that's pretty impressive in terms of performance results, comparing that to the HTC One X. So as you can see, the CPU performance is pretty strong, as is the memory and everything else. So it's a pretty strong benchmark there. In terms of other stuff we've got on here, at the bottom we have the phone dialer. obviously we can dial numbers and all that kind of stuff. No great surprise there. Messaging. Then we have the browser, which we'll take a quick look at. And you'll notice, or perhaps you won't, that particularly, in fact we'll come to that in a moment, talk about fonts and designs. We'll take a look at our site here. Loading pretty quickly, but again we would expect that. We're using broadband. So we go, even the small text at standard, when in fact fitting the page is completely legible. At probably what, 18 inches, 2 feet away from my face, I can read that quite well. No problems there. Obviously I can turn it sideways and that scrolls extremely smoothly, and zoom in and out, and the rotation is pretty rapid as well. As I say, we'll come back out of here. One thing that you perhaps will notice is that all of the images, or the text, has been tidied up and redesigned, so it's a slightly different font, which looks really quite nice actually. It is a striking difference. And then let's take a look at the camera. So the camera, again, I think we'll probably talk about this in a bit more detail in another video, but we have different ways of using the camera. I'm in Zoe mode just at the moment. Zoe mode will record video and stills simultaneously, dual stream processing, so you don't really have to kind of make the decision, or you can shoot normally and choose to take videos or photos. I don't really have, we're obviously going to want to go outside and take some better photos than we're going to get here in the studio, but we want to take some more detailed photos. But even on this screen here, and you're probably not going to be able to make that out in the video, it's picking up the texture of our background here quite well. If we just take a quick snap, we can look at that. What you can see there is really well in terms of how that has picked out that texture. I wasn't particularly close, and I think that's done a really good job. I have played around with the camera a lot more on another device that I looked at a couple of weeks ago, and have been really impressed with it. If you go into Zoe mode and we take a picture, what we'll be able to see in here is there are a number of frames taken, but rather than being still frames from a video, they are full frame pictures taken. So the little white marker that you see on the display there is the point at which I actually pressed the shutter, and then so we had a few seconds of images before and then quite a number after I push the shutter button. So it means that if you're taking pictures of people, if they blink or they don't smile or whatever, you can hopefully capture that, particularly if you're taking pictures of children or animals, which obviously are apt to not perform exactly how you want them to. You can do so, but it does mean that you can actually just adjust that. It's not a particularly new feature. Other cameras and devices have done this in the past, but it's quite a nice way of interacting. We can delete with that, come out of that for now as well. We'll delete our old pictures as well. So the interface for the camera is a little bit different. In terms of what else we have on here, we have some productivity things. So we have folders within the app launcher. So we've got Dropbox and PDF viewer and all that kind of stuff there. We've got some series of tools, including the weather, which is a really nice weather interface, which is done with AccuWeather. We've obviously seen the settings menu already. You've got Google applications there, so Google Plus, Local Talk, Chrome, and those sorts of things there as well. TV. This is where there we go. This is where we can actually start using that infrared transmitter on the top there. I'm not going to worry to set that up just at the moment. Again, I think we'll do a more detailed video of some of the operating system and the features, user interface, and we'll look at some of the other applications that are on here, say including the Blinkfeed stuff, which I think probably warrants a video in and of its own right. So we're going to leave it there with the HTC One. If you want to ask me any questions or you want to see anything specific covered with this device, please drop me a line. You can do so via Twitter, twitter.com/TracyandMatt, TracyandMatt, or on Facebook.com, which is facebook.com/TracyandMatt.co.uk, or obviously indeed via the site you can get in touch with me. Please do so. I'll be happy to try and cover anything that you would like me to do with the handset. But I will do a full review. We're going to have some more videos, and I think this is a device that warrants a good amount of follow-up. So I'll be back soon with some more videos and reviews on TracyandMatt.co.uk. But for now, thanks for watching.